The Las Vegas Raiders had one of the most exciting drafts in 2025. From top talents like Ashton Jeanty to late-round steals like Charles Grant, many fans and experts were praising the team's smart picks, but not everyone was on board, especially when it came to one wide receiver, Jack Beck. Some football insiders think the Raiders made a mistake by picking Beck in the second round. In fact, a report from ESPN mentioned that several scouts believed it was too early to grab him. They said he would have been a better fit for the third round. Before listening to the latest news, subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Let's move on to the new news. But here's the thing. Draft picks are never a sure thing. Nobody can predict which players will succeed. A lot depends on the coach, the team system, and how the player grows over time. Just look at Colton Miller. People doubted him too, but now he's one of the better offensive tackles in the NFL. The Raiders didn't pick Jack Beck by accident. They believed in his talent. Maybe they thought if they waited until the next round, he'd be gone. And sometimes in the draft, it's smarter to grab a player early than risk losing him to another team. Scouts can have opinions, but only time will tell who was right. Some people are questioning why the Raiders drafted Jack Beck at pick number 58. But let's be honest, moving up or down 10 spots in the draft doesn't always make a big difference. What really matters is how well a player fits into a team's system and how much faith the coaches have in him. Critics say the Raiders could have taken a different receiver earlier, but what they're missing is this. Las Vegas traded down, not once but twice, and still got the guy they clearly wanted. That move didn't just land them Beck, it gave them more chances to grab other talent in later rounds, like Charles Grant and Dante Thornton. Think about it. Would you rather take one wide receiver early or pick up multiple solid players across different positions? The Raiders chose the smarter route. They trusted their plan, stuck to it, and ended up with quality players who can help this team grow. And when it comes to Beck, the coaches clearly believe in his potential. They see him as someone who can learn from experienced teammates like Jacoby Myers and fit perfectly into their offensive system. New leadership under people like John Spytek and Chip Kelly brings a fresh vision, and it's already showing results. Forget the outside noise. The Raiders' draft strategy wasn't just about one player. It was about building a stronger, deeper team. There's growing concern in Raider Nation, and it all centers around star defensive lineman Christian Wilkins. Remember that foot injury he suffered early last season? It turned out to be a Jones fracture, serious enough to keep him out for the rest of the year. He had surgery, joined the off-season program, and for a while, things looked promising. He was spotted without the boot, training, and seemingly on the path to recovery. But now, there's reason to worry again. NFL insider Vic Tafur recently reported that Wilkins was back in the boot, after off-season activities had already begun. That was the first red flag. Then came Tony Pauline, who doubled down on what he said back in March. Wilkins may need another procedure. According to Pauline, the foot hasn't fully healed, and surgery is still on the table. And that wasn't just speculation. Even after the draft, Pauline stood by his report, suggesting the Raiders knew about the risk. That might explain why they invested in more interior pass rushers like Marlon Hemingway and Joe G.J. during the draft. It's clear Las Vegas is preparing for every possible outcome. However, the picture isn't entirely grim. Just a couple of days ago, the Raiders posted a photo of Wilkins hitting the bag, with no boot in sight. So what's really going on? It could be that Wilkins is using the boot as a precaution, training lightly, then bracing the foot to help it recover afterward. That kind of load management makes sense in the off-season. Still, the idea that he could miss the start of the season, or even a chunk of it, is now on the table. It's only May, and training camp is a couple of months away. But for a Raiders defense that's banking on Wilkins to be a difference-maker in the trenches, this is a storyline to watch very closely. Let's be honest, Christian Wilkins' foot is the most talked-about body part in Raider Nation right now. And while some reports are raising red flags, there's still a strong chance he'll be ready to roll by training camp. Yes, the Jones fracture is a tricky injury, It's known for being unpredictable. Sometimes it heals perfectly, other times it lingers. But Wilkins is still young, and youth works in his favor. From everything we've seen so far, it looks like the Raiders are giving him the time he needs to recover, right? And here's the thing. The Raiders need him. Sure, the team drafted a couple of young defensive tackles, but let's keep it real. Those rookies aren't expected to dominate from day one. They're long-term investments. Wilkins, on the other hand, is already one of the most valuable players on the roster. Right behind Max Crosby, Wilkins might just be the second most important defender in silver and black. Even if he's still wearing the boot occasionally, that doesn't mean panic. It could be part of a carefully managed recovery. One day, he's pushing off that foot, hitting pads, moving with power. Then the next, he's back in the boot to reduce swelling and give it a break. That's normal for this kind of injury. The bottom line, Wilkins is rehabbing, not sidelined. He's working his way back, and the signs point toward progress. Now, while other headlines are trying to stir drama, the Raiders' coaching staff knows the value of patience. They're not rushing him. They know exactly how important Wilkins will be once the season kicks off. And so should we. Josh Jacobs breaks his silence, and it paints a damning picture of the Raiders' old regime. When Josh Jacobs finally opened up about his exit from the Raiders, he didn't hold back, and what he revealed says a lot about the mess left behind by the old front office. First off, let's clear one thing up. Mark Davis isn't the villain here. According to multiple insiders, Davis doesn't micromanage. He hires a general manager, steps aside, and lets them run the show. Unfortunately for the Raiders, the man he chose last time, Dave Ziegler, did not deliver. From the beginning, Ziegler's decisions raised eyebrows. His draft picks were baffling. His roster moves were inconsistent. And now, we're learning that his approach to player relationships was just as shaky. Enter Josh Jacobs. In a recent interview, Jacobs revealed that after putting together a monster season, he genuinely wanted to stay in Las Vegas. He had just poured serious money into a custom home, one he hadn't even moved into yet. He was committed. He was invested. And yet, when contract talks began, the tone was cold. Jacobs said the offer on the table was $10 million. That's a solid number, but he wasn't looking for something outrageous. He simply asked for some performance-based incentives. If he ran for a certain number of yards or made a certain number of catches, why not sweeten the deal? Ziegler's response? A flat-out number. Even worse, Jacobs described the way he was treated as disrespectful. He shared a story about sitting in the parking lot with Max Crosby, thinking about holding out. That's when a front office figure, most likely Ziegler, walked up, already on the phone with a national reporter, and asked Jacobs if he was ready to come back. No honesty, no real negotiation, just pressure. It's moments like these that show why the Raiders desperately needed a leadership reset. Jacobs was more than just a running back. He was a locker room presence, a fan favorite, and a guy who gave everything on the field. The fact that he felt pushed out, not supported, is a major stain on the last regime. Now, with new leadership in place, the Raiders are moving forward. But Jacobs' story is a reminder of why change was so necessary, and why getting the front office right matters just as much as building a strong roster. Josh Jacobs felt betrayed, and Brock Bowers sends a surprising message. Josh Jacobs wasn't just disappointed by how things ended with the Raiders, he was deeply frustrated. And now, we know why. According to Jacobs, it wasn't just about money. He claims that behind closed doors, negative stories about him were deliberately leaked to the media. And who was behind it all? From Jacobs' point of view, all signs pointed to former GM Dave Ziegler. He felt Ziegler didn't just mishandle negotiations, he actively worked to damage Jacobs' reputation. Even though Jacobs was open to staying in Vegas for $10 million, with performance bonuses that could boost it a little, Ziegler refused to budge. No flexibility, no real effort to keep him. And now, looking back, it's clear the Raiders let a cornerstone player walk away for the wrong reasons. It's easy to say, don't pay running backs in today's NFL. But when you have someone like Josh Jacobs, a leader and elite performer, sometimes you make the exception. The Raiders could have locked him up for 3 years at a reasonable cost. Instead, they clung to rigid policies, and it cost them. Thankfully, that era is over. Ziegler is gone. And with Tom Telesco and new leadership in the building, things already feel different. From the front office decisions to the energy around the team, this is a new chapter for the Raiders, and it finally feels like the team is heading in the right direction. Speaking of new faces, Brock Bowers has already made headlines. But not for the reason you'd expect. Bowers skipped the voluntary off-season program, but not because of drama. He's actually staying behind at the University of Georgia to finish his degree in finance. That's right. While many rookies dive straight into NFL life, Bowers is prioritizing education first. That kind of discipline says a lot about his mindset. It's a rare move in today's game, and one that could pay off down the line, not just for him, but as an example for younger players. Sure, he'll join the Raiders soon enough, but for now, he's showing maturity that goes beyond football. As off-season programs unfold, keep an eye on this new-look Raiders team. The regime is different, the culture is shifting, and the excitement is building. If the front office keeps making smart decisions, fans may finally see the kind of success they've waited years for.